So let's start with a question, all right? And when I say question, it's a real question. Your job is to pause the video and try to answer whatever I ask you, all right? My first question is, what comes to your mind when we talk about St. Patrick's Day? So pause the video and answer. Well, maybe what comes to your mind, first of all, is the color green. Right? And then my question is, why green? Pause the video and answer the question. Well, maybe you answer that green represents luck, and St. Patrick is all about luck. Keep in mind that in English we have a very interesting expression that is the luck of the Irish. All right, the luck of the Irish. So let me ask you a question. Where is St. Patrick's Day from? Where is the holiday? Where has the holiday started? Pause the video and answer. Well, I hope you have answered Ireland, because then you will understand why I asked you to ask this question before I continue. The luck of the Irish, all right? The luck of the Irish is something related to St. Patrick's, the color green, and etc. All right. What else comes to your mind when we talk about St. Patrick? Pause the video and try to tell me. Well, maybe you will tell me about tall hats, green hats with a buckle, all right? Maybe ginger beard, like red-haired beard, something like that. If you said that, I think you are right, all right? Maybe you even thought about the leprechaun, right? Keep in mind that the leprechaun is this small creature, all right, that is in Irish folklore, right? Okay, that's nice as well. What else comes to your mind? Maybe you talked about green beard. Remember, this is pretty important. Here in Curitiba, for example, I believe there are some places here you can find green beard in St. Patrick's Day, all right? Maybe you have thought about the rainbow in a pot of gold, right? And this is very representative as well, the rainbow again means luck, because at the end of the rainbow you are going to find the pot of gold, depending on the myth you are talking about. That's good as well. All right, maybe you can talk about the horseshoe. I will share my screen with you, so you will get the most common symbols we have in St. Patrick, right? Keep in mind, if you just go to Google and you Google St. Patrick's Day, this is the kind of thing you're gonna find, all right? So we're talking about the most common things, all right? So take a look at this. As I said, I hope maybe my screen is loading. Not quite there yet. Let me see. Yeah, I believe you can see it. So as I said, you see lots of people wearing green. You see the hats I told you about. You will see the leprechaun, as I mentioned. All right, so here we have the leprechaun. The leprechaun has a kind of plant. He's holding a kind of plant. We have to talk about this kind of plant, all right? We have the pot of gold. We have the rainbow. We can see the horseshoe, all right? Horseshoe. You can see the horseshoe, and you have this plant here, all right? I almost pronounced. Do you know how to say that in English? Well, if you answered clover, like a clover field, well, you are right? The name of this little plant is clover, And we have here a four-leaved clover. All right, that's good. A four-leaved clover. But this is not what they will call it. You know, they won't look at the clover and say, look, this is a clover. They'll call that the shamrock. The shamrock. I want you to pay attention to the two shamrocks, if we can call them this way. We have in this guy here. Let me open it in bigger for you. We have two shamrocks, right? What is the difference between them? Pause the video and answer the question. Well, I hope you have realized one shamrock has 4 leaves and the other shamrock has 3 leaves. You know, take a look at here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And here we have 1, 2, 3. You know, my question for you is, which one makes more sense? The one the leprechaun is holding, or the one is stuck to his hat? Pause the video and answer the question, and please tell me why. Well, maybe you answered that the one with 3 leaves makes more sense. And sorry, 4 leaves. Maybe you answered the one with 4 leaves make more sense because it represents luck, right? So if you find a clover with 4 leaves, then you're going to keep it in your wallet and it will bring you luck, right? All right. So then my next question is, what about the one in the hat? Was that a mistake? What is going on? Pause the video and answer. I don't know. Maybe you want to answer that it is a mistake, or I don't know, this one he's holding is more important. Okay, keep that in mind. Now, take a look at the other pictures. You know, I'm not going to get something more childish like. Let's go back to general Google thing, right? Look, St. Patrick's Day. 3 leaves, 3 leaves, 3 leaves, 3 leaves, 3 leaves, 3 leaves. This is supposed to be very important, right? Because it's presenting St. Patrick. Then again, we have 3 leaves. And again, no, here we have 4 leaves, but we have all the 4 leaves in green. And then this one has a different color and it has 3. And again 3, and again 3, and those ladies over there are holding ones with 3 leaves. So what is going on? What is going on here? I think the shamrock is a very nice point to realize something pretty important. Okay. What is the name of the holiday? The name of the holiday is Saint Patrick, right? Saint Patrick's Day. Saint Patrick's Day. Tell me something. Probably Saint Patrick's Day has to do with a guy, right? Has to do with a guy. And his name is, I really hope you have answered Saint Patrick. And Saint Patrick, Patrick was a, I really hope you have answered saint, right? And where, I mean, religion, mythology, folklore, where can we find saints? I really hope you have answered. We can find saints in the Catholic Church, right? The Catholic Church is the most common religion that believes in saints, you know? All right. So apparently there is this guy. In our research, I can maybe share my screen with you again. In my research there, I don't know, we didn't see any guy, right? Any saint. We saw lots of people dressed like the leprechaun, you know, because the leprechaun has, as I said, a red beard, right? But nobody that would be similar to a saint. We saw lots of beer, lots of people celebrating, lots and lots and lots and lots of green, lots of gold and things like that. But I'm scrolling down and down and down and down and down and down and down here, my page, and we just can't find it. I think it hasn't loaded for you, right? But that's not important. Okay, you just trust my word. Okay, now I believe you have it. So just trust my word, right? No, 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 no Catholic thing, right? Okay, but there is probably, right, because the name is Saint Patrick, there is uh, a, a guy called Patrick, and he was a saint. We will, in this exercise here, we will explore this guy's life. But before we go there, my question I'll go back to my question. What is the relation, right? And I could ask you another question. Let's go to Easter, right? Let's see if you have some religious knowledge here. What Easter, Easter, like when people eat chocolate and stuff. What is Easter? I mean, Easter is supposed to celebrate what? Pause the video and answer the question. Well, Easter is supposed to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus, right? Okay. But then my question is, what is the relation between Jesus, Easter bunnies, and eggs and chocolate eggs? You know, I don't know. I don't know what you think, but I think the relation is not mm, so close, right? Of course, you could say, oh, because the bunnies, the rabbits represent fertility, and Easter is about fertility and it's about life. And Jesus resurrected in Easter, so it's about life as well. You could say the eggs represent life as well, and chocolate is something good. So life is good, chocolate is good, everybody is happy. I know, I got the connection. It's a good connection, but I don't know. Why not using symbols from the Bible? Why not the dove, for example, that is the symbol of the Holy Spirit? You know, why not? I don't know, things that were already there. You know. So my answer to you is, before I answer, I'll ask you another question. When was Jesus born? I mean, the day and the month. If you answered December 25th, you will know that yes and no. The tradition has that it was December 25th, but everybody knows that Jesus wasn't born in December 25th. Probably Jesus was born, some months before, 4 or 5 months before, December 25th was originally the day of the sun, you know? It's the solstice, right? Solstice. Okay. So what am I telling you? I'm telling you that all that the church is lying to you, and Jesus wasn't born in December 25th. So it's all like, no, no, no. Let's not get the Vinci Code like here. The church has always admitted and even taught that we don't know when Jesus was born, right? And there was this celebration of the god that was the sun for the pagans, right? The sun god. And when the Catholic Church came, to that place, they said, no, look, we have the real sun, and the real sun, all right, is the Son of God. The real sun that shines is the Son of God. you know, that is Jesus. So as long as we don't know the date of Jesus's birth, so let's establish it in December 25th. All right. So it was a choice. It was a choice. So very frequently, the pagan tradition is sometimes mixed, all right? Sometimes absorbed, but in the meaning of resignificated by the church, you know? Well, so we can understand that, for example, in Easter, there is a pagan part, a part that doesn't come from Christianity, that doesn't come from Jesus, that didn't come from his resurrection. That is the part of the eggs, you know, the bunnies and things like that. And there is the other part that is Christian, the resurrection of Christ, right? I've already told you about Christmas. And if you think about it, this is exactly what is happening to St. Patrick. All right. St. Patrick, when we think about St. Patrick's, the leprechaun, the pot of gold, the luck, you know, I don't know, the green beer, the rainbow, the horseshoe, and all of that has to do with the pagan tradition. All right. The Christian tradition is Saint Patrick. All right. And going back to the shamrock, why is the shamrock so important? Because if we look at the shamrock, it's less common as the pagan symbol, the pagan part of St. Patrick's, then it has to have 4 leaves because it represents luck and etc. But originally it had 3 leaves because, and then let's talk about the shamrock having 3 leaves. Tell me something. If you are a Catholic or a Protestant, if you are not, imagine somebody who is a Catholic or a Protestant, a Christian. Are you monotheistic or polytheistic? In other words, do you believe in one God or do you believe in many gods? Or your friend, imagine somebody that is Catholic or Protestant. Well, if you answered that you believe in one God, then you are right. According to your religion, according to Catholicism, and according to, I don't know, most of Protestant churches, you believe just in one God. There's just one God, right? Okay, but then my next question is, do you believe that Jesus is a God? Pause the video and answer. If you answered no, and it was very funny because I asked many of my students who are Catholic or Protestants, and many of them answered no. If you answered no, then you don't know your church. I'm sorry, all right? Because if you are a Catholic or a Protestant, you have to believe Jesus is a God. Jesus is God, all right? Of course, if you are, I don't know, any other religion, not a problem. The discussion here is not if you believe in Jesus or not. The discussion is if you are a Christian, a Catholic Christian, a Protestant Christian, go ask your priest there, you know, go ask the pastor of your church or the shepherd of your church. They will tell you that, all right? They have to tell you that. Okay, so you believe Jesus, or you should believe if you are a Christian, Jesus is a God. And what about the Holy Spirit? Is the Holy Spirit a God? Well, if you answered yes, then you are right. Yeah? Holy Spirit is God. But then my question is, look, you told me that you believed in one God. And now you are telling me that you believe in Jesus. Jesus is God. The Holy Spirit is God, and the Father is God as well. So aren't you contradicting yourself? Pause the video and try to answer. It's very important that you try to answer that question. Well, the Catholic Church and Protestant churches would say no. I'm going to take into consideration mostly the Catholic Church because, it's a Catholic holiday in Ireland. We're facing the Catholic, part, at least the tradition. Well, the answer is it's complicated. And then you may ask, how complicated? And you are going to get the answer. It's so complicated that is a mystery. And then somebody may ask, who has the answer for this mystery? And then we can answer, God has the answer for this mystery. What is the mystery? This is the mystery of Trinity. How is it possible that one God is three, but those three gods are just one? So don't simplify the question. Don't tell me something like, oh, yes, it's one God and then he appears in different forms. That's not the affirmation. Don't simplify the question. The affirmation is not there is one God and then he puts different masks and then he's three. He can put the mask of the Father, the mask of the Jesus, and the mask of the Holy Spirit. No, that's not the question. Look, there is a scene in the Bible when Jesus is being baptized. Jesus is in the water being baptized, and suddenly a dove that we know it is the Holy Spirit comes and starts flying over Jesus, all right? And then there is a voice from the sky who says, "This is my son, my beloved son." So in this scene, we can see three distinct people, right? Jesus is there, the Holy Spirit is there, God the Father is there. Well, so again, don't simplify the question. That's why we call it mystery. Okay. What does all of that have to do with St. Patrick? I think by now you have gotten it, haven't you? Pause the video and try to explain what does this story of the Trinity have to do with St. Patrick. Well, I hope you have realized that the shamrock has to have three leaves because it has to represent the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So St. Patrick would get a shamrock preaching to the pagans and would say, look, take a look at this shamrock. Is it one or three? And people maybe would say one, and then he would say yes, but it's three at the same time. And people would say three, and he would say yes, but it's one at the same time. This is the Trinity. All right. This is the only one God we Catholics believe that are actually three, and there are actually one, So this is the explanation, the Christian explanation for the symbol. Well, going back a few steps, so the shamrock is very interesting, right? Because you have in the same symbol, sometimes with 4 leaves, sometimes with 3 leaves, in the same symbol, the pagan and the Christian tradition, all right? In that case, taking turns, all right? Hopefully, in the next videos, we're gonna try to discover, we're gonna try to find out a little bit more about St. Patrick's life.